Down but not out. This is today's article, sir. Political instability in parts of West Asia and North Africa is allowing the IS space to operate. So the political instability means not stable in the parts of West Asia and North Africa are allowing the IS space to operate. So they are giving the control to IS. Let us start this second article. The UN counterterrorism chief statement to the Security Council on the continuing presence of Islamic State IS terrorists in West Asia, Africa, and elsewhere should be seen as a serious warning by the countries in these regions. So, due to the UN's counterterrorism means political or military activities designed to prevent or have terrorism is known as the counterterrorism. So, the UN counterterrorism chief statement, the Security Council is continuing the presence of Islamic State terrorists in West Asia, Africa, and some more states, and this should be a serious warning to these countries in these regions. 2 years after the Sunni jihadist group was declared defeated, more than 10,000 IS fighters remain active in Iraq and Syria, said Vladimir Voronkov. So, after 2 years, Sunni jihadist group was declared defeated, that they have been loosened, and more than 10,000 IS means Islamic State fighters are active still in Iraq and Syria, said Vladimir Voronkov. IS driven terror attacks are on the rise. So the Islamic State terrors are on the rise. And besides these two countries, where the ISN established a proto state in 2014, destroyed by multilateral war efforts that lasted 4 years, the terror outfit has a province in West Africa with nearly 3,000 fighters, according to the UN. So, IS means Islamic states had establishments kept up has kept a proto state in 2015. There was a destroyment in the multilateral war efforts in the last that lasted 4 years. The terror outfit has a province in West Africa with nearly 3,000 fighters, and according to the UN. In war-torn Afghanistan, it continues to stage attacks targeting ethnic and religious minorities. So the war-torn Afghanistan continue to have a stage attack in the ethnic and religious minorities. The IS may no longer control any big city, but it rise from a breakaway faction of Al Qaeda in Iraq to one of the world's most potent terrorist group should be a lesson for all stakeholders. So the IS may no longer control a big city, but it rise from a breakdown of Al Qaeda in Iraq, who are the world's most potential, means having great power of influence terrorism group, and that should be a lesson for all the stakeholders. Ever since they lost territories, IS fighters withdrew from the front lines and started operating in cells in the deserts, mountains, and hinterlands of conflict ridden countries. So, even though they lost territories, IS fighters withdrew their front lines and started, means what they said, and started operating the cells in the deserts, mountains, and hinterlands, means the middle remote areas of country of conflict-ridden countries, hinterlands of conflict-ridden countries. Iraq and Syria are particularly vulnerable in the IS resurgence, as these countries are yet to be fully stabilized after the wars. So, the Iraq and Syria are particularly vulnerable to the IS resurgence, and these countries are fully stabilized after wars. In Syria, the Bashar al Assad government has particularly won the civil war. So, in Syria, Bashar al Assad government have practically won the civil war, and but Syria is now a divided country, now. While the government controls most of the territories, a coalition of jihadists and rebels is running the Idlib province. So the most of the government is controlling the territories, and a coalition of jihadists and rebels in running Idlib province. In the northeast, the Kurdish rebels have declared autonomy. So, in the northeast, the Kurdish rebels have declared the right or condition of self-government. So, uh, on the Syrian Turkish border, Turkey, backed by pro-Turkish rebels, have carved out a buffer and has been in permanent conflict with Kurds. So the Turkey have backed the pro-Turkish rebels and have carved out a buffer, means shaking, and has a permanent conflict with the Kurds, means fighting with the Kurds. Though there is an uneasy quiet in Syria, the situation is inflammable. Though there is uneasy quiet in Syria, there was a inflammable situation. It's not nice. Iraq, after months of protests and instability, has finally got a government. So it finally got a government after so many protests and instability. But Prime Minister Mustafa Al Kadhimi is torn between the US and Iran. So Prime Minister is divided between the US and Iran. Pro-Iran Shia militias continue target US troops inside Iraq, which could turn the country into battlefield between Washington and Tehran. So, pro Iran Shia militias have continued to target US troops inside Iraq and could turn the country into battlefield between the Washington and Tehran. The story is not very different in Africa. The story is same in Africa. Libya has two governments which were fighting each other till last week's ceasefire. So Libya was having fight between each other in the of its governments till the last week's ceasefire. The Libyan conflict has spilled over into Mali and Burkina Faso. The Libyan conflict have been spilled over, means have been transferred to Mali and Burkina Faso, where jihadists have established a solid presence. Chaos breeds militancy, and as the main group here is the IS, it would remain active as long as these countries remain unstable. So, Chaos breeds militancy, and its main group is the IS, and it would be active as long as these countries remain unstable. The IS has its roots in the US invasion of Iraq. It started growing by exploiting the civil war in Syria. The regional governments as well as the international backers should be mindful of the fact. So the regional governments and the international backers uh, should think about this fact. If they fail to address the regional fault lines and continue to fight each other, the jihadists could emerge winners once again. So if they fail to be calm and if they continue to fight each other, the jihadists are going to win this time. And today's second article is about the IS terrorists who were there and what is going on between the countries. Thank you.